Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Athlete. This is episode number 20. So this is going to be a special motorsport edition that I want to go through some of the motorsport guys that I work with and surrounding people as well. So I work with a lot of the road racing guys at the moment. Now, one of the main problems with motorsport, especially being involved with motocross for 14 years, which was a big part of my life, is there's not much education in terms of what type of training should be done to help people in motorsport and help people on the bike. So I think one of the main things that I find that a lot of people do is just going for runs, going for a swim, going for a bike ride and doing this long distance stuff all the time because they think that it's going to transfer over to their racing. The transfer between LSD, so long slow distance training, and the transfer of that over to racing is going to be minimal. Okay, so there is going to be improvement with any type of training. You can go and do a boot camp and there will be the slightest improvement in terms of fitness on the bike. But what you want to do is you want to be able to maximize the time that you're putting into your training and the results that you're getting from that to help you with the racing, instead of going out there and putting the hours in, putting the effort in, but not really seeing the results. So LSD is long slow distance. Pretty much what this means is we have a lowered heart rate for an extended period of time. So going for a run, going for a ride, going for a swim, anything long distance which has your heart rate a little bit lower, so maybe around the 60%, 70% mark, but for a long amount of time. Dog's a bit noisy today. So what we need to make sure is that the training we're doing during the week is being transferred over to what we're doing on the bike, okay? Now, LSD training is teaching our muscles to fire suboptimally for a long period of time. What we need our muscles to do is fire optimally for a short period of time, which is what we're doing when we're racing. So when you're going around a corner, when you're going down a straight, when you're going past someone, when you're trying to duck up the inside of someone, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our muscles to fire as quickly as possible. When you want to turn the corner, you want to turn the corner now, not in 10 seconds time. When you're about to run off the track, you want to correct that straight away, not correct it in 10 seconds time, okay? So we need to make sure that the body's firing optimally, it's firing quickly, explosively, the muscles are firing as quickly as possible. The way we get to that to happen is using interval training and using strength training. Interval training is using short bursts of high intensity activity, which is going to get your heart rate jacked right up, get you working with a high level of intensity like you are on the bike. We need to reflect that intensity from race day in our training during the week. If that intensity is not reflected, the crossover between each is going to be minimal. Okay, that's where the results come from, is training at high intensity during the week, and it has to be absolutely flat out. Okay, you will not get that intensity from running 5Ks or going for a 50K bike ride. So what can you do? Intervals. Number one, you can go down to your park or jump on your exercise bike or cycling bike, whatever you're doing at the time, and break it up into intervals. So instead of going for a 50K ride, we'll work with running. So instead of going for a 5K run, go down to the park, map out 2 cones about 20 meters apart. So what you can do is run to that cone and back as fast as you possibly can, so 40 meters. If that takes you 30 seconds to complete, rest for 30 seconds. Then we can repeat that 10 times. Now that will be way more effective and have way more crossover to your training on the bike, because we're increasing the level of intensity, getting you to work really hard, getting the muscles to explode as quickly as possible because you're working as hard as you possibly can, which is what you're doing on the bike. So you're going to your race, I'm assuming that most of you are going to your race to give it 110%. We need to make sure when you're going to your training, the level of effort that's going into those intervals is at 110% as well. So that's something we want to work on in terms of the interval training side. Okay, so you can implement that 10 rounds, 20 meters apart, flat out as hard as you can. Now, if you're doing that properly and you're actually giving those intervals 110%, by the end of it, you'll be absolutely stuffed, more stuffed than you would have been going for a 5K run. Okay, and it will take you half the amount of time as well. The next thing is incorporating strength training, or weight training. So there's 2 types of weight training. There's strength training, there's hypertrophy training. Hypertrophy training is where we're teaching the muscles to be bigger. We're pretty much increasing their size, and that's the main factor, is increasing their size, strength being the secondary option. The other thing that we can work on with weight training is strength training. What that means is getting you a lot stronger than what you are, getting the muscles to fire a lot more efficiently, recruit muscle fibers a lot quicker, work together, work the muscles in your body as a system together, and get them firing as optimal as possible without having a focus on weight gain. So imagine if we could keep you at exactly the same body weight and give you double the amount of strength, how you would feel driving the car, driving your go-kart, racing your motorbike, racing motocross, doing your sport. If you were twice as strong and exactly the same body weight, didn't put on any weight, and were able to go out there perform. Imagine how that would feel going out to a race meet, being twice as strong and still the same amount of weight, okay? So what that will mean is that you'll be a lot more efficient on the bike. You'll be able to move around on the bike a lot easier, use a lot less effort, which means that you're going to be a lot more mentally alert during the race, make better race decisions, better race results, be able to last a lot longer, be able to go harder for longer, especially if you're using those intervals, because that's going to teach you to keep pushing, especially when it gets tough towards the end of a race and it's hard, things are getting tough towards the end of a big race day or race event, then that's what's really going to help you. So a couple of things to implement there: strength training, stick that in. Also sticking in interval training. So give that a crack, implement it. If you have any questions, send them through, post them below in the comments, and I can get back to you. So give that a crack and see how you go.